In this video, we're going to talk about the Violator's true origin, heaven, hell, and Earth's darkest secrets revealed. Alrighty then, this is a comic book breakdown of the Violator, issues number 1 through 6, brought to you by Rated Comics. Let's get to it. Now, before we get into the content, link in description if you wish to purchase this comic book and or any of our other limited print Rated Comic exclusives to add to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. Also, you let me know at the end of this video if you believe the Violator's telling the truth or not. But yeah, I'll let you decide, but it's an entertaining story nonetheless. Also, timestamps will be in description if you wish to go from issue to issue. And if you like the content we're throwing up, don't forget to like and subscribe to Rated Comics YouTube channel for more content like this. But with all that being said, let's get into the content. Now we begin this issue with the Violator kind of breaking the fourth wall, talking about, oh, didn't see you there, you guys are good looking. Don't just stand there, you imbecile. We both know why you're here. Yeah, we want to know where you came from and how you came about it. So he's gonna get into that. So we go into this monologue, the beginning. Actually, everyone knows the story as he's talking about the Bible, the book of Genesis, how God created the heavens and the earth. So here he's talking about the end of the beginning, heaven in BH. And what does BH stands for? It stands for before humans, all right? It was quite the time of hope, of devotion, one of creation. All these are angels. And like many great society, we all had our purpose, to help enact the plans of him, the creator, God. That was their grand design. Shape the infinite stuff of the cosmos and make light out of darkness. And this guy was paired with Gloriana. That was before he was a Violator. His name is Baziel. So Gloriana asks, why are they working so hard? What's the urgency? Like, what is he up to? And he's like, I do not consider the motives of the creator. I am a humble servant working to do his bidding, because she asked him, why are you working so hard? What's the urgency? So she's like, okay, you're giving me that answer, but I don't quite believe you. So Gloriana leaves, she goes back to this guy, and then guy tells her, hey Gloriana, how you doing? Back so soon, the cherubim will think of you and are merging if you're not careful, Gloriana. Oh, I am to merge with Baziel. I don't know what the word merge means, but it's not the kind of merging that we do here on Earth. We do that different kind of merging, you know, that key sweat kind of merging. Anyways, you get the point I'm talking about. But it's the kind of merging that deemed good in the eyes of the creator, in the eyes of God, whatever that merging means, at least in the context of the story. So this guy's like, really, then you seem to be missing Baziel. So Baziel goes to see Lucifer and calls him Morningstar. Gloriana suspects something, and I am not a good liar. Lucifer is like, oh, we are all good liars, Baziel, and calm thyself. All is happening as it should. Well, what about if the creator finds out? The creator? Come with me. The forge of the creation will keep our plans out of his thoughts. The monument to himself for more than consume his attentions. The creator has done so much, says Baziel. He gave us life. He gave us purpose. Why are we even doing this? Because the creator is a liar. Lucifer, you blaspheme. That's what Baziel tells him. And Lucifer's like, look, you, my dear Baziel, you refuse to see what is happening in front of you? Then allow me to show you what's happening in front of you right now. You doubt me? I was the prime creation of his. If you will not voluntarily see the truth, then allow me to show you. So look, Baziel, he does his thing and his mind gets warped. Look, Baziel, you see what I saw? The creator deep in contemplation, so deep that his once favored went unnoticed. I snuck closer to see what was consuming the creator's attentions. And what I saw was betrayal. God creating Adam in the book of Genesis. That was Adam right there. And then I realized something, that we were just pawns. Do you see now? And Baziel's like, it cannot be. The creator is using us to make our own replacements. But why? Why would he do that? Because the creator needs followers. He needs blind worshippers. He needs a hierarchy that will be always beneath him, that he can always be on top of. The creator cares not for you, nor I. Well, Baziel's like, dude, can we do anything? Oh, there's a time and a place for discuss with others. Others, says Baziel? But this is now not the time or the place. We will reconvene later, all right? So do your thing, and then we'll get back to it. So Baziel does this thing, and Gloriana's like, okay, Baziel, what are you up to? Is Morningstar trying to tempt you? No, don't worry about it, girl. I was just jesting you. You seem trouble, says homegirl. And Lucifer's like, look, girl, he's exhausted, as we all are, as is apparently his tongue. Okay. Farewell, Morningstar. And Basil's like, I have to go. So Basil flies away and he thinks to himself, if what Lucifer says is true, if the creator only sees us as tiny cogs in his greater machine, we mean nothing to him, less than nothing. A curse upon Lucifer for planting such thoughts, such nonsense in my mind. But would nonsense rattle me to my very core like this? Wouldn't I be thinking of flaws in the words and how it all makes sense? Should I be thinking about that? But I am lost. So Gloriana comes up behind him and creeps so they have a moment. And before they can get romantic, Gloriana's like, well, look, before we can do our thing, before we can give a little kissy and maybe some merging going on, tell me anything. What's on your head? And Basil tells her, have you ever doubted the creator? And that is another blaspheme that you just can't say. Why would you say such a thing? The creator is everything. Look around us. What makes you question him? And Basil's like, sorry, I did not mean to upset you. I didn't know what I was thinking. A moment of doubt or perhaps weakness. Let us forget that I even asked. And Gloriana's like, it was that damn Lucifer, wasn't it? This sort of thing stinks of him. And now he was sharing his blasphemies openly? Listen to me, Basil. Sever ties with them. No good will come of it. Find your faith in the creator once more. And Basil's like, if I cannot, then I, Basil, am the least of your worries. So they go back to creating. And you know, like in the book of Genesis in the Bible, everything is good in God's eyes. And everything is good. So they create. And he should be exhilarated by all this creation. The wonder of taking the nothing in space and making it part of something. Something he's not even sure to believe it anymore. So this other angel tells Basil, hey, this is before you turn Violator on that. You feeling all right? You looking kind of sick. I appreciate your concern, brother, says Basil, but how could he tell him the truth after Gloriana's reaction? So he has to lie to him and tells him, I'm fine. An angel committing sin. Look at that. This is a burden for him to bear alone. So Gloriana's like, isn't this glorious? We are witnessing. No, we are taking part in the great making, building the earth. Bask in the glory of our creator. Basil, what in the nothing space could distract you from all this? And Basil's like, I ain't got no answer. I don't know what to tell you. Well, come with me, says Gloriana. Your distractions are becoming a problem. Get Lucifer's poison words out of your head. Enough is enough. But is asking for love or respect or acknowledgement a bad thing, says Basil? Hey, I kind of hear him on that. Is gratitude not a mutual act? Hush! You had best hope I am the only one who heard you utter that. We cannot let the creator hear that. And love, the creator is love. And to toil his vision is how we show hard devotion, by exercising that. But Basil, you will not speak of this to me no more. And Basil starts thinking, he starts questioning things like, then who created the creator? What, says Gloriana? Do you think it's just some kind of jest, some game of logic? I need some time apart from you. I do not dare let Lucifer's madness pass from you into me. I ain't got time for that. And come on now, you're an angel now. You should know that God is the Omega and the Alpha, the beginning and the end. That's in the book of John, I believe. But anyways, Gabriella flies away and tells him, I'll pray for you. And Basil's like, those words do not comfort me as they once did. So now we see this nothingness, this pitch blackness, and this opening opens up. And Basil gets surprised because it's Samael and he gets greeted by him. Well, not really, but he was like, you better hope you were not followed. We got our meeting. And Basil's like, I took every precaution. Excellent. We've been waiting for you, but there's something not quite right about you, Basil. And he flies away. In his darkness, he thinks he could turn away and he could go back to the creator, go back to God and have mercy on him. But you know what? There's no turning back now. So he asks Gloriana to forgive him because Lucifer tells him, you are very important to the cause. And Basil's pride is like, okay, I gotta go where I gotta go. So Lucifer is like, thank you, my friends, for coming here today. We all know the risk, but we are here. We stand on the precipice. We can fly about it or we can sink into the abyss. Stop speaking in riddles, says the angel. We need a plan, not your stupid metaphors. Oh, okay, well, come on now. Let's go into it. So he goes into it. And Lucifer is like, oh, I have a plan, a very good one at that, but in due time. And the angels are like, I knew this was foolish. The creator knows everything and sees everything. That is what the creator wants us to believe. That way, we will never be anything they do or make us do. And how can we be so certain that the creator knows everything, the other angel asks? And Lucifer's like, because if the creator heard it all, I would have been erased from existence a long time ago. So the plan, Morningstar, speak it now or we are leaving. Is it painful to be so humorless? I mean, this was your discovery, Basil, so maybe you should be the one to talk about it. So Basio explains, yes, the act of creation creates byproducts, waste, detritus, kind of like heavenly debris if you want to call it that. However you want to describe it. But this discarding creation energy is deceptive, and he takes this symbiote. It looks blackened and dead, but inside it's deemed with power and possibility. Show them what you have shown me, dear Basio, says Lucifer. So he takes the symbiote, he opens it, he feels his pulse growing, it merges with him, kind of like an angel spawn. You see the eyes go green, necroplasm, and it's glorious. Look at that. Spawn symbiote from the beginning. So he tells her that the creator's detritus is truly miraculous. Basio, exquisite. Now my turn. So now the other angels try on this symbiote like it's a symbiote dressing room, It's intoxicating, it's powerful, it's freedom, it's power, and they all chant Lucifer. But Basio in the back is like, okay, something ain't right. What have I done? What have I done? So Gloriana is like, Basio, why so solemn? It's another beautiful day of creating. Yes, it is, says Basio. Well, I hope you have dealt with what we discussed before, because I ain't got time for that. We gotta merge, all right? And Basio's like, well, I did deal with what we were talking about, but not in the way you believe I did. Good. I hope this change is permanent, says Gloriana. Me too, says Basio, but they don't mean it like that. So they kind of spar with each other, getting the feel for the new symbiote. And this angel gets injured, but Basio teaches him that the thing is powerful because it can heal him, and it's more powerful than they know. So Basio's like, okay, well, look, what have I done? It's resisting me. And when he goes and talks to Gloriana again, this thing takes control and resists him. But he can't control it no more. It's reacting on its own. He lifts his Gloriana up and releases her to the ground. And he doesn't know how to control it, so he apologizes to her like, I'm so sorry. And Gloriana was like, what was that? Is that Lucifer's doing? No, says Basio. I did this freely and on my own. I never meant to hurt you. You must know that, Gloriana. And he flies away because he just can't deal with it. So the other guy that was trying to throw his little angel parking lot pimping on her was like, did you get that? Did you get a little piece of that? Yes, I did. Give it to me. Give it to me. So this other guy, the one that was trying to merge with Gloriana, if you want to call it that, he says Basio has always been easily swayed. He may believe Lucifer's honey lies, but this creation stuff, this will lead us right to that nest of the traitor. It's happening. There's no changing plans for better or for worse. Lucifer has a formidable army. Now Lucifer's like, yes, my children are ready. It's time for victory. It is time for war. Angels and this symbiote is going at it. And just like that, everything has changed forever. Creation was a messy process, but destruction was chaos unchained. All the anger, all the rage, the bloodlust on both sides. Did Basio cause this? Did this bring the death of paradise? Is he the evil one? Oh, Gloriana seems to think so. I warned you, and yet you chose Lucifer because she had that sample from that heavenly symbiote, the debris, the whatever you want to call it, and she was able to track him down, and she was able to do her work. You choose Lucifer over the creator, over me. And Basio's like, I have no defense. And Gloriana's like, then you leave me no choice. And Basio's like, I understand. Well, you make me do this. I take no pleasure in ending you, Basio. But maybe she does. Actually, I kind of give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she didn't. But as the war rages on, he fell. All this carnage was but a spark, Who ignited an inferno? Who is now alone? Used by both sides, wanted by neither, abandoned by fate. His sins envelop him. The pain is exquisite. Is it really? And look at him. He's like, it hurts so good. Yet did he deserve it all? As his previous existence melts away, as his blood boils and his flesh melts, one thought echoes through his mind. He did this, and he embraces the agony as he falls, and he gets all that flesh just burnt off of him, and we get that mushroom flame effect right there. Yet he is denied the peace of death, burned, twisted, his folly made flesh. Basio's dead, but he is reborn, loyal to none but himself. He is loyal because he is now the Violator. And that is the end of the Violator, the untold origins of Spawn's most notorious demon, Violator Issue number 1. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. So we're just going to go back a little bit. So previously in the Violator formerly known as Bazio, after realizing the unchecked hypocrisy of the Almighty. Allegedly, he gathers together and inspires a mighty army that leads into war. He leads his men into a rebellion against the divine creator and fights for their freedom from enslavement. Allegedly, after a stunning alleged victory against the Lord's heavenly forces, remember how issue number 1 ended? He got clapped back with that sword and he just fell to his downfall. He ventures out or falls into a new plane of existence in which to settle in and lead his people to prosperity. Yeah, that's how he claimed it happens. But where is the Violator now? We begin this issue with him being a Violator Icicle. And he's like, I know, you're wondering how I found myself in this predicament. Well, pull up a chair and let me tell you a story, a tale I like to call. So that's what he's going to say. That's him breaking the fourth wall. He's going to tell the story how he sees fit. So we get these holy hooded men in blood and snow in 793 AD pulling the Violator Icicle out of the water. And these holy hooded men are like, find your strength within, let your suffering power you. But in the distance, one of the holy men is like, oh no, brothers, I'm afraid it's too late. We have no time. And what is he talking about? The emissary of evil is upon us. That ship and that bat with his necroplasm eyes, Viking spawn, is on there doing damage, doing work. Their doom has arrived. And one of the men on the ship was like, actual hell could not be worse than this infernal ship. Hold your tongue, fool, says the other man. And Viking Spawn is like, you think that is true, slave? Then allow me to hasten your journey. And what he does is he squeezes his head so hard that, yeah, he just pops his head like a cherry tomato, just gushing all over the place. And let that visual sink in for a little bit. So Viking Spawn is like, any of you pathetic flashbacks care to join him? Yeah, I thought. Now roll like the devil himself is at your heels, because holy men, he is indeed at your heels. So holy men get to shore with Violator Icicle and they're like, faster, God give us strength. And Viking Spawn is like, ain't no God around here. God is not going to save you from this. So they get the gate open because they have to, because all will be lost at this point. And the other holy man runs and he's like, we have been forsaken. And they turn around and Viking Spawn's like, before this brother could run into that cave with his other holy men, Viking Spawn goes in there with his bats and necroplasmic. And you got to understand, like, and I think appreciate that necroplasmic horn on his helmet, that's pretty dope right there. So Viking Spawn is like, fools, there's only one God worthy of your servitude, and I will send you all to meet him. So he throws all of his necroplasmic thorns at him, and it impels the guy, it impacts him, and he's just down for the count. He is slain. He can't go into the gate and for protection. So the other holy men are like, we cannot let him die, right? And they're like, no, we have our mission. We must not waver, but something must be done. The only thing we can do now for our fallen brother is pray. Pray that he's granted a place in heaven. But we don't know if he's granted a place in heaven. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he was, but not before Viking Spawn has something else to say about that. And Viking Spawn gets pissed, like, give me what I'm here for, and I will kill you quickly. Don't, and I shall take my time peeling the flesh from your bones. It matters not to me. I will enjoy myself either way. It's almost like this brother's like, the more he kills, the more he likes it. And it's just, I'm digging this issue so far. So Viking Spawn is like, you think your iron gates will protect you? Think again. And he uses his necroplasmic sword to get up in that, you know? But meanwhile, the Violator in icicle form, he opens his eyes and he awakes, or at least begins to awake. So the holy men are like, we're doomed to say, hush, brother, we must silence your doubts. We are here to serve God at all costs, even at our deaths. Now gather your wits and follow me this way. So they go into this tunnel, some dialogue and some escaping happens, but eventually Viking Spawn is going to catch up to them. And that hot necroplasmic blast just goes at him and they melt away in necroplasmic fashion. Where is he now? Where's your God now? And Viking Spawn has his own clap back while he's doing it. So he tells him more pressingly, where have you little mice gone? I want more killing. The more I kill, the more I like it. So he's like, which way did y'all go? So he's looking around and he turns to his left and he's like, I see the trail. Fleshlings are making this way too easy for me. So the holy men are like, keep, brother, keep pulling, pull this way. So they're pulling using all their strength, all their might. They must be tired, and you know they're hungry too, and stinky, but they gotta do what they gotta do. So Violator begins to wake up like, what? It's so cold. Where am I? I remember everything, and we get a little glimpse of what happens back in the past. So we know that Violator was cast out of both heaven and hell, eking out an existence amongst the creator playthings, trapped on this plane, surrounded by creatures that he had a hand in making. Every single one of them bellows with laughter over his humiliation. Both Lucifer and the creator must think, no, they hope my isolation will drive me mad, but I will show them. I will show them. And he sees this sulfur fire coming down, and it impacts real, like, low. That's Hiroshima style right there. That's dangerous. But the thing is, he survived that, apparently. And in this form, he is very hard to kill. He found the heat of the jungle stifling, exhausting, but he preferred that over this excruciating cold weather. So most everything else is dead. Those that survived the impact, they're all dead now. He has no grasp on how long he's been here, and he has nothing but thoughts of rage, revenge, and justice coursing through his veins. And of course, life has a sense of humor. It ends this way. He steps on a little thin piece of ice above the water. So his thought is, I can't accuse the creator of lacking a sense of humor. As one of the damned, I always assumed death by flame. But this isn't entirely unpleasant. It is quite, I guess you could say, pleasant. But he breaks from his little icicle, remembering everything, yelling that he remembers everything, and he's like, I remember everything. And we get like a glimpse of sad moment, with him. So Violator's like, you are men of God. You pulled me from the sea. Why? You may be cursed, demon, but that does not mean that you cannot be saved. Saved from who? Says the Violator. Myself? We always battle our own sinfulness, but I was referring to a more immediate threat. And Violator's like, you are clever. You saved me, and I'll help you. Fine, I'll play. Now tell me about this immediate threat that you're talking about. Well, if we had the time, we would, but he is here right now. I'd rather show you than tell you. That's Viking Spawn's word. And Viking Spawn blasts him with his necroplasmic blast, hot, fuming out of his veins. And Viking Spawn is like, I am the threat. Oh, says the Violator, you must be one of Lucifer's pets. The stories I could tell you. Wait a minute. There's something about you. Something familiar. And what he's talking about is in issue number 1 when he created that suit and used it to fight the armies of heaven, but they lost, but he knows the power of that suit. And Violator is like, Lucifer has never fought his own fights. He sends fools like you to do his dirty work. Well, if it is a fight you want, demon, says the Violator. I'm here not to fight you, but to take you to Lucifer, to join his army in the battle with the creator. I come as a brother in arms. Don't listen to that abomination, says the holy man. Every syllable he vomits comes from the Prince of Lies. Says the Viking Spawn. We both know that the true liar is the creator. He claims to have given us free will, but brands us with sin before we draw breath. The creator is a monster who views us as nothing but a momentary distraction. Come, join us and help Lucifer end him, says the Violator. Quite the speech, Hellspawn, but you know what? I remember why you seem familiar now. Your armor, your weapons, I created them. Lucifer gets all the credit and me, nothing. Does that seem fair to you? Then let me thank you now as I use your weapons to rend your navel to your neck, says the Viking Spawn. And Violator's like, look at you, you wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for me, bruh. Lucifer is using you to his own ends, just like the creator he hates so much. And do you know what that makes those like us who believe the Morning Star? I believe the term is fools. I wake up, albeit after paying an enormous price, and now that both of them are the same, I feel nothing for either other than rage and disgust. And after all this time, I need an outlet for my rage. What say you, Hellspawn? You ready to dance? And Viking Spawn's like, bro, you talk too damn much, alright, you outcast? I am much more of a creature of action. And Violator's like, I was hoping you would say that. Now, before this fight begins, I just want to say this video is sponsored by coffee. So if you'd like to buy your boy a cup of coffee, link in description, or donate to the super thanks. But the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking this video and subscribing to Rated Comics YouTube channel. Not to mention, don't forget to check out RatedComics.com for some really cool limited print Rated Comics exclusives, we have some LA Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, limited print exclusives I think you'll dig that'll really look really cool in your comic book collection. But with all that being said, we gotta get back into the content. So Violator stops his necroplasmic axe, and Viking Spawn is like, this is not possible. And Violator tells you think your weapons scare me, little spawning? Think again. And they go at it, throwing hands at each other. You have no idea what fear is, friend. And Violator tells him, but I will gladly show you. And Viking Spawn is pissed like, I do not know what Lucifer sees in you, Bazio. And Violator gets pissed like, that is not my name. I am Violator. And Viking Spawn's like, and I am unimpressed. So he uses all of his chains to his mic to contain and detain the Violator. Chain, says the Violator, what is this? Your last chance, Bazio. Throwing shade at him one more time. Where do I begin? What flesh shall I flay from your bones? Should I start with your eyes? And Violator doesn't even blink. Really? Says the Violator. You are an arrogant fool. So Viking Spawn's like, what? The chains are not responding to me? What did I do? What did you do? And Violator's like, I guess they have loyalty to the creator, you know, me. Now let's finish this little game, shall we? In a Hellraiser kind of moment, the Violator reverses those chains and pierces Viking Spawn and then rips him in half, as you can see right there. And it is a glorious sight, as you can see. So Violator's like, not so smug now, are we? All this activity made me realize something. He takes his head and he devours it. I was famished. And the holy men are like, Christ, preserve us. And then Violator's like, oh, hello, I almost forgotten about you. And so the holy men are like, what do we do now? Well, that is a good question, holy man. You all look quite tasty, and I could use a palate cleanser. Who shall be first? And he laughs at his own joke, and these holy men are like, we don't know what to take of it, what to think of it. So Violator wants to know, tell me why would you guys release an accursed creature like myself to save my immortal soul? I suspect not, so tell me the real reason you did this. And remember, men of God never lie. So they tell him, we were tasked with keeping you from that Viking devil. And, says the Violator, then we were to kill your mortal form. Yes, and then send you to hell where you belong. And Violator's like, damn, I wasn't expecting you to be all that truthful. That's kind of messed up. So the holy men are like, so I presume that we fight now? Violator gives him a sniff. Nah, I'm cool. And the men are like, but why? Why don't you want to kill us? And he tells them, while there is no love lost betwixt myself and the creator, so too I hold Lucifer in the lowest regard. And since I was cast out from both of their realms, I prefer to work alone now. So you did pull me up and you did help me escape from that ice prison, and I will overlook your allegiance to your God and let you live. Just this once. So the holy men are like, we were given a task and we're just gonna let him go? What choice do we have? And Violator's pissed like, okay, look, before you kind of agitate my hunger, is there a problem? They remain silent, and Violator's like, good, may our paths never cross again for your sakes. And this guy, the holy man, is like, making a deal with the demon to save our own lives? This will not be allowed. He charges and he goes in. I would rather die fighting you, demon, than live in shame and cowardice. Really, says the Violator? If you insist. And the Violator is strong, man. I don't know how. He's got superhuman strength. You cannot go at him toe to toe. So one punch knocks him out, and Violator is like, anyone else share the same opinion? And these men are like, I think we good. I thought not. So Violator goes into his throat and rips out his entire flesh just in one swift pull. And he's like, I'm gonna need something to wear, and this will work perfectly. And he puts on his suit, kind of hinting at the foreshadowing of his clown form Violator. So for being his favorites, the creator certainly gave them restrictive and ill-fitting skin suits. That's his monologue of the suit he's wearing now. And he continues his monologue. The Hell Viking ship, I guess they belong to me now. So let's get on with it then. I have much catching up to do, because I cannot wait to see what the humans have done with this place. This is going to be fun. And as you can see, a little bit of foreshadowing with the clown coming about. But that is the end of the Violator issue number 2. What you guys think of this comic book? Comment below, let me know. Now, previously in the Violator's own voice, he says, man, this story is just getting better by the issue, isn't it? And for the first 2 issues, I agree with that. Do you? Just when you think you know what's going to happen, blam! You get slapped in the face with an axe by a giant Viking spawn. And yes, he smelled exactly like you would think he smelled. But now, we're getting to the good parts. So settle in, enjoy, because he's got some good and classy narration for you. So we begin this issue with Ashes to Ashes in Paris 1349 AD. Now, to paraphrase Charles Dickens, it was the worst of times. See, the Violator's been around for a while, so he calls himself classy. But this is during the Black Plague. A lot of deaths, and the Violator is warning these fragile humans the creator chose over us are much easier to control than those I presume. So he calls the humans fragile because this plague is just making them drop like flies, literally speaking. And he's just wondering what the heck, why the creator chose them over us. Now he's still going through the whole struggles of being casted out of heaven through his own questioning, but that's what he did, but he doesn't see it that way. So this lady goes up to the Violator in his new disguise form. Is like, Monsieur, do you have any aid for the desperate women? Are you speaking to me? Says the Violator in disguise. My lord, only kindness would be, I am speaking to you. And he's like, the only kindness I have for you is a quicker death at the end of my cane. He's like, mercy, please, mercy. Now he's wondering that maybe he's being too harsh on these humans because he calls them profoundly stupid creatures, but he sees something from his eye, and it's a hellspawn. Really fitting for the times over here. And he's wondering what the heck are they doing here? And he doesn't know what they want, but the 5 of them versus him? Oh, he likes that odds right there, so he's ready for a fight. But that girl that he kicked to the curb when she asked for help, she's like, you deny the pleas of a dying child? What kind of monster are you? And the Violator's like, what kind of monster I am? You filthy urchin, for you, I am the angel of death. And the Violator just kicks the girl literally to the curb, or into the water that is, or into the sludge. I don't know if it's water at that point, if we're talking about 1349 AD during the Black Plague. But now she messed up his suit, and he's pissed that this child tore the skin suit, and he actually liked that suit. Now he's pissed and he's looking to fight all 5 hellspawns. But then he sees 3 nuns approaching from the distance, and the nuns are like, hellspawn, you dare show your faces here? And the hellspawns are like, we do, Seraphim. Then you will bear the consequences of these. Seraphim emerge from the nun outfits and they go to war. Angels and these abominations. And Violator's like, okay, this is rich. They aren't after me after all. So I'm in the middle, get front row seat to this war. And the hellspawns are like, we will bring your heads to our masters. And they go out and they unleash their hellspawn chains. So this battle is going out, and Violator's like, should I even be here right now? You got falling swords, all this battle ensuing, and it's not even on my account. I don't even know if Violator's mad at that because he likes to be the center of all destruction, or if he's just more intrigued at this point, like, what the heck could they be fighting over that has nothing to do with me? But either way, he's like, they can't have all the fun. He takes his sword, clever creator, and he's wondering, so now he's more unworthy now that he's been cast aside. So he picks up the sword and he's ready to use it right now. So Gloriana's like, what manner of man are you? Oh, I am no man, I am. And she calls him by his original name in the Violator issue number 1 before he became the Violator, Baziel. And that pisses him off. What am I doing saving Gloriana, his once soul share? Yeah, he saved her life right now. So he calls himself a full boss. Before he calls himself by his birth name, he corrects himself by calling him by his other name, Violator. So now these hellspawn chains are going up against him, and he's like, you think these chains scare me? I created them. Your bastard ruler stole them from me. So he takes the chain and just tosses that hellspawn aside. All right, Violator's like, come on, man, don't be trying me with something that I helped create it too. So now he's wondering, this has gotten complicated quickly, and this could be dealt with later, but he needs to get up out of there. But before he can get up out of there, a hellspawn attacks him. And the Violator in his human form just stops him and tells him, your devotion to your leader is admirable, but fatal. And he just rips the hellspawn's head straight from its place right there. Die! I can see the Violator, like, as savage as he is, he's having way too much fun doing this. Now, before the Violator does whatever he's about to do, Gloriana is like, don't do a Violator. Don't do what? But before she can say anything and fill in what we want to know, what I want to know, and what the Violator wanted to know too, hellspawn comes in and tackles her. And Violator's like, why would I not do it? I mean, she would end me as soon as she looks at me. And yet, he's actually facing a moral quandary, like saving her, not doing it, not killing what he wants to kill, not doing what he's gonna do. So this hellspawn that has his head ripped off is like, Violator, burn! And Violator realizes, oh, for F's sake, man, he's gonna. So he, with his head decapitated, he still unleashes a fury. And it's not that fire can hurt the Violator because he can withstand that. But the thing is that human skin is so flammable that he needs to escape this mess and gather his thoughts. So he runs into the streets and goes into the streets and he jumps off the bridge into the slush to cool himself down. And he was like, damn, that Monsieur skin served him well, but he will miss it. But in the middle of the ocean, while he's just gathering his thoughts, if you will, he needs to get another piece of skin. And he hates skin shopping. But come on now, Violator, you know skin shopping can be so much fun. But he's been spotted when he emerges from the water by the angels and they want to destroy him. And he takes that, goes underneath the water and has to find a place to duck into cover and hide. So he can't waltz into the streets looking like this because humans are so fragile, they'll be terrified. So he sees something dark and frightening from the corner of his eyes and he's like, ooh, I like that. But he faces his moral quandary again. Gloriana is here in Paris and he must process that quickly. He had forgotten about her completely since the war in heaven, but with just a glance, memories traverse the millennia since, and he is torn about it. But is he torn? Is he not torn? He's debating that. She chose the creator. She cast me aside like an afterthought. He's referencing the events in issue number 1. She means nothing to me, less than nothing. Enough of that. Let's find me a new suit. Who will be my lucky donor? And at the junkyard, he's like, oh, these people look hardy and stupid. And this guy drinking his fill sees the Violator, not knowing that it's the Violator from the corner of his eye. And the Violator's like, come here. Care to lend me a hand? And come on now, I guess the brother hasn't seen that movie It, like Georgie. Oh, Georgie, come to the no. I ain't go. If we saw that in real life, nope, I am running the other way. So the guy's like, how'd you get there? Are you injured? And the Violator's like, only spiritually, and takes him, brings him down to the sewer, and gets changed. Not a perfect fit, but hey, this one must make do. So he walks the streets, bumps into a kid, and tells the kid, you have best look where you leap, or who knows what manner of horror you could face. And the kid does exactly what any kid would do, pisses himself in the streets. So Violator is just kind of amused by that, leans over and tells the kid boo. And he's like, children are such a delight to scare. So he wonders, why are both Hellspawn and the angels here? They were surprised to see him as he was to see them. But if not coming after the Violator, then what is their plan? It's been so long since I had a good riddle to solve. And one of the Hellspawns is taking, I don't know, these leeches out of this guy's back. And he turns around like, I smell the Violator. He is here. He is somewhere. Do I summon my brothers? Not yet. I look into this castle and I must be certain that he's here. And the Violator is like, did you really think you could sneak up on me? Have you not listened to the tales Lucifer spins about me in his putrid kingdom? You should know better. And the Hellspawn's like, oh, come on, Violator. You do not scare me, traitor. Well, I should. And the Violator is like, yo, man, I've faced you guys plenty of times. You guys are no match. I know the suit better than you because I created that suit. Your confidence is adorable. But you never stood a chance, as he rips his arms out from where they stand, or where they're placed, if you want to call it that. And the Violator's like, speak, little demon. Why are you here? What does your master want from me? We are not here for you, says the Hellspawn. And the Seraphim? What mischief are they up to? That is why we were sent here, says the Hellspawn, to foil whatever mission their creator sent them on, but we know not their true plan. Please, I have answered your queries. Have mercy. And the Violator's like, okay, I'll consider it. I've made up my mind. I mean, that is an intriguing story, incredibly vague information. Like, you're just here to foil their plans, but you don't know what they're doing? It sounds about right, and the Violator struggles with that. So he sits, and the Violator's like, so Gloriana is leading an Earthside secret mission. The Spawn may not have been here for me, but I am not sure about the Seraphim. Time to do what I do best and be a fly in the ointment. Find them first in their little hidey hole and bring them pain. But first, he needs another suit. And he sees that woman as another victim, and he just goes shopping and makes a transaction, if you will, if you want to call it that. And he rocks a suit. And he's like, oh, the female of this species is fit different now. So many moving parts, not entirely unpleasant though. Do I look pretty? I know, twisted human here, but hey, you know, he feels the hellspawn's following him, but he doesn't mind that. The more, the merrier. So as he's walking down in disguise to the streets, these guys are like, how much for the three of us, my lady? Oh, you're a fiery one. I am many things, old boy. A soft caress and a weapon of torture. Not the little death you were hoping for, eh? He's going on a shopping spree at the same time he's going on a killing spree too. And the Violator realizes, damn, I must learn some self-control here, right? So after that public display, he must get rid of the body. And just when he was getting used to it, and he says to himself, note to self, he must try another woman's suit sometime, as he gracefully exits the suit, if you want to call it that. So the Violator is like, this foul city is immense. No way to find Gloriana on these streets. So he takes a higher vantage point to survey the cityscape, and he is disappointed because he was hoping for a bit of a challenge, like a mental gymnastic challenge, to find these angels. But the angels are so literal because they're hiding in the cathedral. Of course they will be in the cathedral. So the Violator goes there, and in there we see Gloriana just kind of thinking to herself that she's a loyal soldier and has been since the dawn of time. She never questioned the creator's motives, yet something feels amiss. Why was she chosen for this mission? Did he send her here to test her devotion? Did he send her here because he knew that she would find the Violator? Or did he want Gloriana to see Basio? And why would the creator, now before she can piece this together or at least put out all the data out there, a hand goes on her shoulder and she gets pissed like, I am the general in his army, unhand me or face his righteous judgment. I am. And she's like, wait a minute, hold up, Romeo, what are you doing here? And Romeo's like, your reflexes are as sharp as ever, General. Perhaps you might want to retract your blade. And she's like, apologies, brother. I am awash in emotions and it clouds my vision right now. Perhaps these rains can cool my burning sword right now. And Romeo's like, you judge yourself too harshly, my general. The creator would not have given you anything that you cannot deal with. And she's like, well, thank you for your words, but I need a moment. So she goes down. She's like, how many times will I be called upon to show my fealty? Will this be the creator's little game with me across eternity? I must bury such thinking deeply. I have my duty, and that is enough. Questioning the creators leads to the fate of Basio. No. What does he call himself now? Well, now she knows what he calls himself. The Violator. She reminds him that. And Violator is up on top, looking down on her from above. Gloriana, he whispers. And she's like, who goes there? Now I am jumping at the shadows. Enough for this. He hides in the shadows, but he also disappears with the strike of a lightning. So she wonders, she's just gonna go back with the other angels right now. So Violator goes in, infiltrates, and he's like, 1, 2, 3, I count. Do I simply destroy them or torture them first? I agree, torture first. Forget your shared past, Violator. Gloriana certainly will kill him when she has a chance. So these angels are like, something's not right. And the angels are like, I sense nothing. And Gloriana's like, no, I sense something. Gather your weapons and stand ready. I know not what is coming, but I do know it is not good. So Violator's like, oh, but it'll be enjoyable for me. So he blows out all the candles, creates darkness in the room. Just as expected, the hellspawns are there. And he supposed he could let him fight it out and let it work it out, and he just goes at the survivors and have fresh pickings on them. But that would be amusing to watch. He could do that, but who is he kidding? He wants to have some fun too, and he breathes out fire, and the angels are like, we are under siege. Smash them like bugs beneath your heel. And the hellspawns are like, brave words, Seraphim, but I sense a tremor in your voice, almost as if you know your fate this evening. For the creator, the angels go in for the attack. And Violator is like, okay, this is very familiar. Like, they're fighting over something, but what is it? So does he wait? Does he jump in? What does he do? And before he can decide on that, the decision is made for him. Gloriana's like, Basio, you! And Violator's like, oh, Gloriana, what is it now? And the hellspawns are like, that's it, outcast. Distract the angels. When I bring her head to Lucifer, I will be celebrated. So he does his magical necroplasm powers and creates these chains from the ground to drag her down to Lucifer. And the Violator is like, oh no, I can't do this. Just remember, Spawn, you made me do this. You did this to my first soulmate right here, if you want to call it that. And the Hellspawn's like, what are you talking about? He takes a sword and just decapitates, slices the Hellspawn's head clean off. And Violator's like, you talk too much. Here, Gloriana, let me help you untangle you. Why are you aiding me, says Gloriana. Not from the goodness of my heart, I have saved your life, and you are in my debt. Do not follow me, and perhaps I will call us even. And Gloriana's like, okay, I understand. Do not come looking for me. And he leaves and goes away. And the angel tells Gloriana they are gone, General, as is the last piece of the Violator's heart. Damn you, Creator, says the Violator, for reminding me what you took from me, and damn me for somehow still caring, as he's in an isolated, undisclosed location, venting out his frustration. Wasn't that a wild ride? Or was that the Violator's wildest ride yet? Angels and Hellspawns duking it out, not on behalf of Violator, but what mission do they have? He likes the mischief, but he also feels a little hurt that the mischief is not on his account. He likes to be in control. He likes to be at the center of it all. But what you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. So previously in The Violator, Gloriana reunites with her soul buddy, the Violator. The life of the underworld party, that's what he calls it. Now, angels are having their halos polished by the Hellspawn, according to the Violator, and humans are just here for the drama and flavor. So now we go to Russia in 1903, and it is a cold winter. I mean, it's freezing cold. The Violator calls it another form of hell. He claims that it's not as bad as after the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, but mind you, it was cold, and we see the Violator in human Russian form right there. Get some vodka, my friend. I know, probably a horrible Russian accent, but anyways, that's not my finest hour, and it's not his finest hour either. But he never said the life of an outcast demon was all glitz and glamour. So he says, if you humans think hell is fire, brimstone, lava, but hell can also be frozen. No one was alive to mess with, only humansicles and death as far as the eye could see. So he sees exactly what he needs, a flask with a hand on it, but he calls it, humorously speaking, like, hey, give me a hand. I need that flask, and I need that hand right there that's holding that flask. So he's walking around and he looks at this church and he's like, oh, shelter. But he calls it the Creator's arrogant monument. It's church, all right? But the Violator doesn't see it that way, knowing the history. So he goes up to the church and he's like, you know, there's one thing churches do have, and they have wine, and wine has alcohol, and he loves alcohol. But as he goes in and sees this, he thinks he's gonna go in and prowl and get all predator style, but it's a different kind of predator he's talking about. He's liking what he sees, and what he sees right now, it's at least 2 to 3 7 deadly sins: lust, greed, because this woman's not sharing, and maybe a little bit of pride right there. I don't know, but we see this guy just getting jiggy with it with all these ladies in the church, and it's just like, yo, that is the biggest slap in the face. But I guess there's nothing like the forbidden fruit in his eyes. So Violator's like, okay, I like what I see, but something's about to go down. So these men go up to this guy and they call him Rasputin. That's his name. But we're gonna have to change his man's name from Rasputin to Riz Putin, all right? So these guys go up there with their bottles ready to do some damage, like, you abomination, you have bewitched our women. And Rasputin, aka Riz Putin, said, we both knew they needed no bewitching, you flaccid fool. Then to hell with you. They throw the bottle with the flames on it. He burns alive, and Rasputin's like, you think this will stop me? I am Rasputin. I am eternal. I am the Resonator, and now I will be your death. And Violator's like, okay, he's kind of liking what's unfolding before his very eyes right now. But one of the guys is like, oh, you like what you see, you pervert, and decks the Violator in the face with this rape. And the Violator is like, okay, ow, that's gotta hurt, but you know what? You are so going to wish you hadn't done that. And it gets more sinister and evil as he's looking at this brother, and the brother's like, what are you? What am I, says the Violator. At the moment, I am pissed, and he slashes his claws at this brother's throat, and down for the count right there. So before you know, all this fire, all this flame collapses the roof of the church on top of the Violator right there. It's not gonna hurt him, maybe just a little bit, it might be a tickle, but it's gonna put him down for a little bit because he has to claw out of that debris right there. While that's happening, these guys are going after Rasputin, and Rasputin's pissed, like, you arrogant, impotent fools. You wonder why you women were like fruit for the taking? They shoot him. You dare? I will bathe in your blood. I am Rasputin. I know it's gonna be confusing between Rasputin and Rasputin, but I'm gonna call him Rasputin. You'll see why as we go further in the issue. But as he goes on with this rage, it just ends right there. So Violator claws out in his full Violator form. He's like, I'm gonna kill and savor killing these peasants right here. You fools think you faced a demon before? You have not. You have no idea. And he's like, wait a minute, we're the humans. And 2, this is a curious turn of events. Rasputin is hung right now, and he's just there for the Violator to take. So what is the Violator to do? Well, he looks at the body, he's like, this one has potential. Your sacrifice won't be in vain, my friend. In fact, I will make you a legend. And he puts on the Rasputin costume, and he just kind of brings it to life at this panel right here. And Violator's like, yo man, this is a perfect fit. The virility, the sexual rage, the darkness. I can make terror in this town, and the fun for me will be exquisite in equal measure. Let's get to it. I get to see the Violator doing something like that. So we see Rasputin right there like, yo, who's gonna get rizzed right now? In 1903 in Russia without no vodka. Okay, I'm having a little fun right there. So months later, we see this random mansion right there, and we see this lady just enjoying the fruit of Rasputin right now. And these guys are like, oh my god, should we intervene? We've never heard a woman have such reaction like that. And one of the maids is like, it sounds like she's being murdered. Oh no. Rasputin or Rasputin's methods are extreme, but he is racist last hope. So I don't know what they're talking about when they're talking about Rasputin is healing her from hysteria. Maybe it's sexual hysteria. Maybe she's just a sex addict in 1903 in Russia. I don't know. But Rasputin comes out the door like, oh, your race is indeed satisfied. So Violator talks about in his monologue like fornication, another gift wasted on the human chattel. And this body is very good at it. Okay, you gotta just enjoy the little bit of dark humor in the Violator, right? That's what he's all about. So he walks out and he's like, my work here is done. And the husband, I guess you would say, like, okay, and her man is, will she live? Oh, your rest will live. And we see all these scratches on Rasputin's back. So I'm gonna go, she's like a sex demon or just like a sex addict, or maybe a sex demon's a little extreme, but this is just comedy to me. I'm not even trying to find out what the heck is going on. It's just funny to me. So he's like, oh my god, praise God, how can we ever repay you? And Rasputin's like, yep man, it gives me such a release that this payment is enough. It's just kind of humorous right there. So they go upstairs, check with the madam, and they're like, yo, can we bring you anything? And she wakes up all sexually pleased and happy, like, yes, bring back that Rasputin right now. Okay, yeah, work with your boy on this one, all right? It's a long issue, but I had a lot of fun with it, even though it's just the Violator. So the guy asks Rasputin, can I convince you to stay, be my personal physician? I'm sorry, says Rasputin, but I must use my powers to help others in need. There are so very many people that need curing, and I look forward to the challenge. So as he's walking away, he's gonna go down to a local pub. But when he's walking to the pub, he senses that somebody's present. And he's like, I know you're there. Come out the shadows and face me. And they come out, and all these guns are just locked and loaded on Rasputin. And they're like, yo, man, like, we're going to take you down tonight. And Rasputin's like, you stand nary a chance, but I'm more than happy to play. You ain't got no chance in this fight right here. They tell him, Rasputin, surrender peacefully and we will guarantee your safety. And he's like, oh really? Well, I will not make the same offer to you. You pompous fool. They go after him, but he goes to work on them. And while we're just gonna enjoy this bloody carnage right here, I'm just gonna take the time and say, don't forget to check out RatedComics.com for some really cool limited print Rated Comics exclusives to add to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry, and also check out to see what other comic books that we have that you may want to add to your comic book collection. And also, this video is sponsored by coffee. As you can tell, your boy loves coffee. So if you'd like to buy your boy a cup of coffee, link in description or donate to the super thanks. But the greatest comment you guys can do, or the greatest compliment you guys can do, is by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to like and comment as well. I love engaging with you guys. But with all that being said, let's get back into the content. So Rasputin goes up and he's just going to work on these brothers. And this kick right here to this guy's face, knocking off his teeth, just demonstrates what kind of strength this brother is working with. Not meant for mere mortals. So he goes to work, takes the guy's gun, just goes on a killing spree, if you want to call it that. And Rasputin's like, yo man, I did my kill Putin right now. Now it's time for some Rasputin. Who needs to get riz? Because all these brothers are dead. But before he can go about any kind of celebration, he senses that someone else is there. And he tells him, I know you're there. Don't make me come out and get you. So the guy comes out and says the stories are true, but they did you no justice. Now that we are alone, I came here with a dire request. I'm sorry, Nicholas, and my son needs your help. And we see this kid crying and coughing and internal bleeding and just suffering through the worst kind of disease at that time. I don't know what that is, but I would not want no kid to go through that because this kid is crying for dear life. So the nurses at the time are like, we don't know what to do. We've done everything there is, but there's only one thing left to do. They tell the mother that poor Alexa, that's the child's name, to ease as much pain as possible. How about, and the mother's like, so you're telling me he can die less horribly by just ending him now instead of just letting him drag on? And they're like, well, yeah, if I may be so direct, says the doctors, hemophilia is a wretched, monstrous condition. Also, that's what the baby's going through. So the mom's like, okay, we got to find a doctor right here. So they're thinking because it's Rasputin, he's established himself as as another doctor when he just really rizzed up a lady to the point that she was just cured from whatever illness that she had. Could you imagine having that kind of riz? Yo, you ill? You haven't met my riz? Yeah, that's my prescription. So anyways, the mother's like, make it stop. I cannot bear standing my baby cry like that. So they need a doctor immediately. And Rasputin's like, oh, Grigory Rasputin at your service. Alexandra, my son. So that's his wife's name. Tsar is going in, trying to console some things. So Rasputin comes in like, what's wrong? And they're like, yo, our kid is sick. Can you do something to help? This child will die. And Violator knows in that disguise that the child will die without his help. But he just jokes that like, all right, you wretched humans and your emotions with your kids. Come on now. He don't have no kids, but he's been alive for so long and killing for so long that this is all numb to him. Which is why I kind of, I think it's starting to become, all the Violators just starting to become the most savage character and comic right now. So what does he do? He cuts his palm, creates some demon blood, and feeds that demon blood to the kid. And right away, the baby stops crying and the baby is fine. And the baby's like, oh my God, yes, God bless you, brother Rasputin. And Rasputin's like, yo, man, don't talk about that G word in front of me, all right? But we can talk about that G word. He just don't want to hear none of that. So the kid goes to the mother and Tsar is like, how can I ever repay you? And Rasputin's like, yo, man, it was my pleasure. But the bill in his head, he's talking about in his head, the bill will be steep indeed. So the parents are cherishing their victory of their child being healed. So what happens in terms of that payment? The days that followed were filled with carnal pleasures to no end. And Rasputin is just enjoying himself in wealth and in cake. I see cake it, I take it. Okay, work with your boy on that. So keeping the child alive, he keeps giving him demon blood. And the child's like, more, I want more. And then he enjoys some local cuisine. He's just enjoying living with Tsar right now and being Tsar's like personal advisor. But these holy men do not like that. They're in the distance like, you know what we need to do. We can't stand him like that, just polluting our Tsar. We have to do something, but we can't end him right now. Oh, yes, we can. So that's the plan they got to do. Even though it's not what they think they should do in God's eyes, but they're going to pray about it later to end Rasputin. So Violator hears him talking and he's like, yo, they think their God will help them vanquish me? Oh, they are wrong. Dead wrong. Like, he wants to smoke right now. So while the priests are setting up their poison, they're preparing their weapons, they're praying to their Lord and Savior, and they're praying to God for strength, Violet is like, I see all of it. I know what you guys are doing. So he knows that his time here is coming to an end. Not as an end of death, but as an end of like, I need to do something else. He calls it the pleasures of the flesh and of wealth and luxury has made him complacent. And he's not human. He is not designed to be complacent. He wants the next attack, the next thing, the next kill. So even though he enjoys his human form as Rasputin, this is probably one of his favorite forms right now, he is not Rasputin. He is the Violator, and he sees his own reflection in the mirror. So he gets a knock on the door. The butler comes in, takes a look at his manhood, and that's just a joke right there, and tells him, hey man, forgive my outburst, but your services are requested. And so he goes out into the living room and they welcome him. The holy men welcome him. He's like, look at them all smug and printing. I almost feel sorry for what I'm about to do with them. So he has to play along with it. Like, so what are we doing here? Is this like a celebration? And the holy men are more like, no, it's more of a reconciliation. Look, we understand our relationships have been kind of, let's just say sus at best, So to make some semblance of peace, we'd like you to drink this warm tea that we prepared for you. Have some tea. And Rasputin's like, oh, it smells lovely, but the Violator knows it smells like arsenic. It smells like poison. He drinks it knowingly and willingly. So he has to play the part, acting like the poison's getting to him right now. And Rasputin's like, what have you done to me? And the holy men are like, God's work. We are sending Satan back to his emissary. And Rasputin's like, okay, I am done role playing here. Ha ha ha. You think you could kill me? Ask your God about who am I. Better yet, I will show you myself. So they're like, shoot this monstrosity, kill him. So Sar, the wife, the kid, they have to run, but the kid's like, yo, but he helped me, like I'm still fond of him. So they go to work on Rasputin, and obviously it's not doing any work because the Violator is like, you can't kill me like that, bro. And Rasputin's like, your marksman skills are just weak, bro. They're weak. So, your turn, old man. It's time to kill you. So, to kind of protect himself, he grabs the kid and holds him at knife point. And Rasputin's like, what are you gonna do, shaman? Murder an innocent? You think you're Abraham? Referencing the Bible when God asked Abraham to sacrifice his son to test his love like that. So, kind of ironic, kind of a good callback right there. But the holy man's like, desperate times call for desperate measures. You have tainted this boy. So he slits his throat and the poison must be drained, but it's not blood that's being dripped out. It is another entity. And the entity tells Rasputin, or Bazio, Violator's original name in the Violator issue number 1. You have no idea how you have helped me. It has been a long time, Bazio, old friend. Let us get reacquainted. And he uses his form to restrain Violator. I come here as an admirer of your work on this pathetic planet. Come join me and have unlimited resources, unlimited power. And Violator just mocks him like, says the omnipotent demon who uses the blood of a child to appear. You dare mock me? Come on, Lucifer. Like, come on, that is the oldest trick in the book, you old played out fool. Go screw yourself. And Lucifer is like, okay, so glib, Bazio, but I smell your fear. And the Violator is like, no, you are the one who should fear, betrayer. You are even more pathetic than the creator. Whoa, that's craziness, right? So he rips off the symbiote, and Violator is like, I will never submit to you. So let's end this quickly and decisively, all right? So Lucifer's like, what are you doing to me? Sending you back to where you came from, and takes his form, just tosses him into the fireplace, and that is the end. Short fight. I'm like, yo, man, this comic is picking up right now, but just as quickly as it picked up, it just as quickly ended. So the army come in, and Sarah's like, kill that man. I command it. He is the devil. But so Rasputin has a duck and dodge to get out of there. It was fun while it lasted, but it is time for new adventures. All right, that's what he's saying. So they're looking for him. They're hunting him down. Rasputin goes in the water. So hours later, one of the captains like, yo, we've got something, and they found Rasputin's skin. And one of the advisors to Sar, or I guess the new right-hand man or whatever, has said the end he deserved. Huh, Sar? Not very scary now. Yo, the guy is very scary. You guys couldn't kill him before. So Sar is like, speak another syllable and I will send you to hell with him, boy. I don't want to hear all that. So where did the Violator go before we conclude this issue? Well, he's still around because there's another guy that's giving a speech talking about the terror of evil has been vanquished. Death is always as the greatest equalizer. Now, let us heal and continue the fight against those who would destroy us. And Violator is in the crowd like, nice moving speech, Nikolai. But we both know you don't believe a word of it. And Violator is still around in Russia, 1903, no vodka. Some vodka would do somebody good right now. But the thing is, the Violator's having so much fun killing and also risen up these ladies because he took over a body of just this guy who's like a sexual conquest master or whatnot. The Risonator, not the Terminator, the Risonator. And now that he enjoys killing a little too much, mocking the devil, damaging Lucifer, sending him back to where he came from. You know, this issue right here just shows why the Violator just became the most savage comic book character, and this is a pretty savage comic in a humorous way. So what you guys think of the Violator issue number 4? Comment below, let me know. So previously in the Violator, he continues on that we witnessed the Violator taking over Rasputin's body and made him the legend that he was always meant to be, and his story is just getting started as we go into this Violator series. We only got 2 issues left, this one and the 6th and final issue when that comes out. So we begin this issue with this guy named Max Verletzer, and it's in Germany, and Verletzer in German means injured. So that's a Violator in form because you could tell by the shadow on the door that that's a Violator taking over his body, and he's happy to greet us, happy to show us what's going to go down tonight. And tonight is going to be a special night for a special guest. Now come here and we're going to be in for a heck of a ride. So we go through the door and we're in Berlin, October 1938. Welcome to Club Absinthe. And then you know it's just all this debauchery going on. And I don't know if I could even show some of this stuff on YouTube. So if I got to zoom in and blur some of this stuff out, forgive you, boy, because there is some definitely sus and stuff that I can't show on YouTube if I want to stay monetized on this channel. All right, so Violator tells us from the POV, now kindly follow me, step over these people, alright, this way, I can smell your fear. The room gets darker, and now we see this bright red door that he's about to open. And when he opens that door, he's like, don't be surprised, like you say, it's just some dark supply room, right? But this one is only one leg of your journey, so put on this blindfold, because the next part you'll see it's gonna be a shocker, if you will. And when it's the Violator, you know he likes to play with words, alright? So he tells this guy from the RPOV, okay, we're almost there. At last, open your eyes. And as these things come in kind of blurry, we see what unfolds. And it is a surprise nonetheless of these German Nazis decapitated. And this German Nazi speaks in German, and he's talking about, my God, that's what he's saying in German, as he is shocked and terrified by what he sees. And the Violator off panel is like, no, not God, I'm afraid, just little old me, Violator. So Violator goes into his monologue like, when they lower their defenses to a stranger, put on this blindfold, and they follow me into a dark room. Well, these Nazis are not the brightest people in his perspective, so he's gonna do Violator things to these people that just got violated right now. So Violator goes on, torments him some more, like, I don't know, like, I'm just gonna do Violator things right now because I can. And so Violator wants to play with his food, so to speak, like Pennywise it, play with his food, fear him up, season him up before he devours him, if you will. And Violator jokes with him like, I've never been good at hanging up my clothes. And did you and your friends think you could steal from me? And the guy utters for words, and Violator's like, hush, that was rhetorical. You come to my club to what? Rob me? Me? Plays with his food some more and just grazes his eyes, scratches him up, marks him up before he does the final act. And his final act is rip out his heart like a Mortal Kombat fatality that only Violator can do. And maybe he might be the originator of that. He might just be. He's the Violator. What are we gonna do? So he takes his heart and he jokes like, oh, I didn't know you Nazis have hearts. Maybe small ones, but you guys have hearts. But either way, it's been a while since I had authentic German. Yum. Eats his heart and opens up this fiery furnace whatnot. Disintegrates the brother. And we get a voice from off panel, and Violator recognizes that someone's off panel, and it's Lucifer, the Morning Star, originally from Violator Issue number 1. And Lucifer in his human form is like, as charming as ever, boss. And Violator's like, careful, don't be calling me by my original name. It's Violator now, and you could tell by his eyes. And Lucifer is like, yes, Violator. It is direct, but it lacks nuance. What do you want, Morningstar, says the Violator. Must I always gotta be here for something? Yes, you do. Spit it out. You know it's Lucifer. You gotta be careful because he's always coming in with a hidden agenda and he's gonna be sneaky about it. And keep in mind, he tells him, well, you know me all too well, old friend. I do have something to ask. Actually, more of a position. Work for me. And Lucifer continues, you can't prefer it up here, can you? He reaches into the furnace and is like, humans are so literal. And he takes the head of the Nazi that the Violator had his fun with. And Violator's like, what? That's it? And Lucifer is like, what's so amusing? And he laughs hysterically like, seriously? That's your sales pitch? Lucifer, you have a better chance convincing this Nazi to work for you than you do with me. So thanks for thinking of me though. It's sweet, but now it has some debauchery to attend to. And Lucifer gets pissed because he doesn't like to get ignored. And you could tell right here that he's like, I don't want to be ignored. You can't ignore me. I am the Morning Star. And Violator's like, yeah, and I am leaving. And he stomps his foot to the ground, summoning all the flames, all this heat. And Violator's not even fazed by it. Like, what did you really expect? Did you think maybe this time that I'll say yes after all the freaking times you asked me before? I am loyal only to me. And Lucifer is like, you flippant, arrogant fool. Your time amongst the creators' pets has made you what, says the Violator? Self-sufficient? Why, yes it has. Goodbye, Lucifer, says the Violator. Next time, let me know you're coming so I will remember not to be here. Lucifer does not like to be spoken that way. He will not be ignored. He's like, I am a god, and he turns himself into his true form. I am the Antichrist, and unleashes this fury of flame on Lucifer in his human form, or at least the human skin that he's wearing right now. And even though Violator is immortal, you know that's gonna burn the skin right off of that uniform right there. So Violator is like, call yourself whatever you want. But my answer is still no. And you being someone that won't take no for an answer, he transforms into the Violator and he tells Lucifer, please tell me you won't take no for an answer because I'm ready for that smoke. literally and figuratively, pun intended. And he tells him, I have a millennia worth of hate I've been saving for this moment. Says that Lucifer, yes, hate is good. Feel it, savor it. Now let's get to it. Let's get ready to rumble. So Violator draws first blood, and Lucifer knows that, and he tells him, look, it's my turn. They go at it, but Violator gets the upper hand like, look, bruh, your bark is worse than your bite, Lucifer. You manipulate, you plot, you observe, but this is a fight. Actually, now that I think of it, getting your hands dirty is something new for you, isn't it? I've been doing this for centuries, bro, getting my hands dirty, and I love it a little too much, Violator style. And Lucifer, knowing dang well Violator don't like to be called by his original name, Bazio, he's like, alright, perhaps you might be right, Bazio, so I suggest we take this elsewhere. He snaps his finger, and now they start transforming, or transporting, correct me because I was wrong, transporting into another direction. And Violator's like, your parlor tricks don't work on me, Lucifer. You are nothing but a sad, angry, desperate child, seeking for his father's approval that's never coming. Well, when you put it that way with Lucifer, if you know the story of Lucifer, I mean, pretty much pride was his downfall because he wanted to be higher than the God, the creator himself. So now Violator is mocking him, and he's enjoying every minute of it. As he falls and falls, he lands into a pile of bones. And Lucifer's like, look, it doesn't have to be this way, old colleague. We share so much history. You notice how he changed his tone to old colleague when just a few panels back it was old friend? Like I said, you gotta be careful with Lucifer, he's a tricky one. So he tells Violator, I'm trying to learn from that history and better my subjects and better myself. So my friends, calm down, says Violator. And the Violator's like, what, you give me that calm down friend talk? You cannot simply entrance me with your will. And Lucifer's like, well, I have before. Now, if we're done with the foolishness, can you please continue? You gonna come with me or what? I mean, you can stay here and kind of loathe yourself in all the bones of the damned for all eternity with your thoughts as your companions, or you could follow me and learn something. And Violator's like, ugh, I hate this guy. He's got me where he knows he wants me, so I'm gonna have to follow him. So as they walk down this stairway to the the 9 spheres of hell, sorry, I was gonna say 8, but those are the 9 spheres of hell right there. Each sphere has its own level. In Spawn issue 8, I believe, Malboja is the ruler of the 8th sphere, so each sphere has a meaning to something. So Lucifer gives his little breakdown of what these spheres are, and he tells him things have changed greatly since the beginning of time, since Violator Issue number 1. When we broke from the creator's servitude, he knew that our relationship was irrevocably broken. He created us to serve at his feet, not question his choices, and to blindly worship him and every action he made. This is Lucifer's way of masking his own pride. But some of us wanted more respect and appreciation and responsibility. And as you were witness to, he wanted pets, not compatriots, you know? After the war in heaven, the Violator Issue number 1, that's where it takes place, the creator changed things up. He gave the humans free will, but told them they were born in his debt, born with sin. And Lucifer's like, that's very smart of him, but keep in mind, Lucifer contorts his words because sin was introduced in Genesis when the serpent, disguised as Satan, convinced Eve to take a bite of the fruit, to take a bite of the tree, the knowledge of good and evil, which introduced sin. But God gave us a way out. But Lucifer ain't gonna tell us that. And then Lucifer continues his dialogue. How much free will did we really have? How much free will did the humans really have? The creator was so fetish in their punishment and guilt and utter devotion that when humans failed or rebelled or did not believe in him, he cast them out in here. The ecstasy for pain. The humans manifested a place for their eternal damnation, a place we know as hell. So now he goes into it. And this part of hell I cannot even go into because it is the first sphere of hell. It is the lust sphere. The creator is casting people in this lust sphere. It's because in this part, Violator asks, why are you showing me this? Like, this circle looks fun. Have you ever tried human copulation? And Lucifer is like, yeah, welcome to lust. The smartest twist the creator has made. Humans have the deep need to reproduce. More fodder for the creator. They find pleasure in the act, so the creator told them they can only mate for reproduction. Keep in mind, he wants us to be married when we mate too. Simply by doing it is a terrible sin if you do it outside the confines of marriage. And that made the humans create all manner of perversion and manipulation because, yes, God wants us to create and to fornicate, to produce and multiply and be fruitful, but people just looked at this like, we want this for the pleasure, And then we show yeah, humans and demons doing things that I can't even show on this channel right now. So Violator asks him, so eternity having carnal pleasures, how is that a punishment? And Lucifer tells him it is when each time they do it, the pleasure is less and less. Like users of opium, they are chasing a joy they will never feel again. And Violator's like, that is not a very definition of life. You know, life is kind of like diminishing returns, but you must hand it to the creator. It is deliriously nasty to let humans experience such pleasure and then punish them for doing that. And then Violator realizes something. You and the creator kind of have something in common. But one thing they're not saying is that God has a covenant and a way to do things, to keep things holy, to keep things within the covenant. But Lucifer is going to twist and contort that, and Violator is kind of just feeding into that. So now Violator is like, where are we now in this sphere? I might have warned you about gluttony. Humans have a unique talent to find something they enjoy and consume every bit of it until it is gone. Or, well, they get fattened up just like that. So we go through the lust sphere, we go through the gluttony sphere, and then this sphere of hell is the greed sphere. And Violator and Lucifer going into that part. And in this sphere of hell, the greed sphere, Lucifer explains that the human's appetite goes far beyond than just sustenance, gold, jewels, and money. They desire, hold on to it, but never seem to enjoy it. This is the circle of greed. The creator chose these weak, foolish pets over us again. And when they disobey his arbitrary rules and commandments, he sends them here and abandons them to eternal torment. And this is the sphere of greed. And as they're walking down the steps, Lucifer is like, you see Basio? And you can see Violator like, don't call me Basio. Why are you messing with me like that? And he growls. He's like, forget it. Sorry, I mean Violator. I once was enraged appropriate since we are in the circle of anger, that the creator would dump his human detritus here into my home. But then I discovered the joy of tormenting his pets, making them wonder why the creator has forsaken them, why he is always changing the rules and making it impossible for them to win. And then he takes him to another sphere of hell, and this is a heretic sphere. This is where I guess people go when they blaspheme God, when they disobey, when they just clearly do not believe something religious when it's clearly right in front of their face. So they get punished. And Lucifer's like, this is it right here. Rules are rules. This is a place of suffering. So suffer they must. And Lucifer's like, yeah, it's only fair. So Violator's like, look, man, your logic is giving me an aneurysm and you're wasting my time. What is the point of all this little travelogue? Should I be awed by your genius? Tell me what I need to say to get you away from me. And Lucifer is like, look, let me preach, bro. Let me try to convince you. And for an immortal, you truly lack patience. All will soon be revealed, all right? Come, we are entering a realm I think you enjoy particularly the best, the violence realm. The only thing humans love more than self-flagellation is killing another human. Quite the design flaw if you ask me. We're supposed to reproduce, but yet we enjoy killing each other? And as they're walking through this sphere, Lucifer is like, do you not wonder why the creator did not fix this problem? And Violator is like, nope, not even for a second. In fact, I enjoy watching them destroy one another almost as much as I enjoy destroying them. And Lucifer is like, great, exactly what I wanted to hear. So Violator is like, okay, you took me through these other realms, but you haven't shown me the last realms? I mean, we didn't finish, bro. Why are we stopping here? So Lucifer is like, the 8th and 9th circles are fraud and treachery, are a bit redundant and entirely uninteresting. Well, if the 8th circle is fraud, kind of what Mboja did to Al Simmons when he convinced him to be the Hellspawn when Al Simmons wanted to see his wife Wanda after his death. But then again, that might be a little bit of a reach. So Lucifer is like, you see this little piece of coin? This one of the 30 pieces of silver that Judas was paid to sell out Jesus Christ. And Violator is like, I never took you for a collector of anything but souls, but this isn't a trinket. This is a boatman's fee. And Violator is like, okay, you really are just throwing all kind of human religions into a pot and mixing them. Kind of a callback to what Lucifer is. Everything that you believe that the word says, he's going to mix it all up to suit his benefit and contort it. And it's in the Bible that you should not add or subtract from the word of God. Lucifer will do that to his benefit. So they pay the coin, they get safe passage, and Violator is like, okay, I must admit that watching humans suffer and die over and over for eternity does have a certain attractiveness. Good, I hope it would, said Lucifer. You are seeing the potential heroine. Hell offers great opportunities to those who know what they want. And Violator's like, okay, and what is it that you want? And Lucifer tells him flat out, I need a second in command, someone I can trust. I need you, Basio. If he really wanted to convince Violator to be his second in command, he would have called him the Violator just out of endearment, but because he called him Basio, it's almost like a slight underhand. So Violator is like, you do? Is there dissent amongst your ranks? Okay, that's pretty ironic. Calling back to, hey, there was dissent in God's ranks with you because you were meant to be his greatest or whatnot, and now there's dissent in your rank. It's funny how the cookie crumbles. And Lucifer is like, think of it, with you as my general, I could quell any uprising and I could whip an army into shape to lead a final assault on he who expelled us. It will be glorious and you will bear witness. It's also in the book of Revelation that we will bear witness. God prophesies that. And when that does happen, Lucifer, you will lose. So Violator's like, as much as seeing you grovel is quite erotic, my answer remains as it always will. Here you go, right there. Take that and put it in your pipe and smoke it. And Lucifer is like, after all the chances I've given you, if you will not serve under me, then let's see if an immortal can die. And Violator's like, okay, this is interesting. Who is this petulant child now? I will tear you apart, says Lucifer as he uses his armor to wrap around the Violator. You will rue this day, Basio. And Violator's like, God, rage at the heavens, rage at me, but the truth remains. You are a loser. And Lucifer is like, you had many a chance. Now I will show you no mercy. But before he can finish that word, we see this lightsaber weapon going through Lucifer's neck. And as the armor of Lucifer slowly unwinds from Violator's like, hey, wait a minute, what the heck is happening here? And we see Lucifer's head get decapitated and fall off. Violator's like, look, I am not ungrateful for the assist, but now goes back into Berlin, Germany. But what the heck just happened? As Violator's looking around the room to see what the heck has happened, how is Lucifer dead, we see a voice off panel. He is dead, meaning Lucifer, at least temporarily, but sometimes that is not enough. And Violator's like, you are here, and it's Gloriana. Hello, Basio, or whatever you call yourself these days. And with that, my debt to you is repaid. A callback to the Violator issue number 3, when Violator saved Gloriana's life from the battle, from that attack. So now she's repaying the debt. And Violator's like, look, I do not know what to say. A miracle in and of itself. And Basio, Violator, because that was his first love, if you will, or his first angel mate, I wish things had turned out differently. And Gloriana's like, as do I. But what it has done, know this, the next time our paths cross, it will be the last for one of us, all right? And she goes into the light and disappears and goes back to where she needs to go. And Violator is like, what a mess. And as for you, Lucifer, you have inspired me, you bastard. If the throne of hell is at risk, I think I might just be the one to take it from you. And he crushes his head. And I love how the end of Violator issue number 5 gives Violator the reason to want to take the throne of hell, which narrates and pushes and drives into further Spawn issues and Spawn 350 and prior after that storyline took place. But that is really cool how it ties into that. Now I hope that in Violator issue number 6, it ties into the Flibiak brothers and how the Violator started working with Mabozja and all that kind of stuff. Or at least we get some kind of time, because you got to conclude it with that. You got to. I don't know what other pieces are missing, but that's what we need. But that is the end of the Violator issue number 5. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. Now my voice is feeling a little bit better, but we still got a comic book breakdown and review to go with. So previously in Violator, the Violator talks about, you, my dear reader, have made it this far to the very end of my tale. A tale that is 100% accurate, correct, and factual. Would I lie? We'll be the judge of that, Violator. We know we can't trust you 100%, but the people seem to like you, or at the very least want to know more. So we start off with this issue that the Violator is shocked and doesn't give a damn that we stuck around this far, you know, just breaking the fourth wall. But since we're here, we might as well have some fun and go a little bit deeper into the Violator and his backstory. So now we're in New York City, 1992. That was around the time the Spawn series came out, 1992, I believe. So be it ever so humble, New York is his home these days. It fills him with nostalgia for all the filth-filled, morally bankrupt, disease-riddled cities from his younger years. Well, we saw a little glimpse of that in the previous issues. And even though he's hungry and he jokes that New York is known for its amazing food and cuisine, but hey, he's eating a rat, so don't judge him like that. And it's a big ass rat, bigger than the ribeye that I ate last night. But hey, it's a delicacy to him. So millions of humans piled high atop of one another, desperately trying to simply survive in New York City, and mostly failing spectacularly in the eyes of the Violator, living in their own filth, breathing toxic air, shooting poison into their veins or snorting it up their noses. You know where that is. Attempting to forget the rancid abyss they inhabit. And he laughs about it. I love New York. That sounds like something 50 Cent would say. I get money. But in Violator's case, he takes lives. And humans are fascinating in his eyes. The only one of the creator's creations that kill, not for sustenance, not for defense, but because they are bored. Whether it is a fascist group invading foreign lands to show strength, or venomous rage over the other, humans' favorite prey seems to be one another. Talking about all the war and atrocities and death we commit. And he talks about that humans prey on one another is what they do with reckless abandon and for carnal pleasures, to numb the pain, to show power. And we get all these visuals of girls out in the club and they doing drugs and also a robbery taking place. Humans in his eyes are a mess, but he smells something delicious right now, a banquet of crazy and fresh too. So in Yonkers, New York, back in October 1976, we get this guy cleaning his gun and his dog is barking and barking violently and viciously, and he can't stand all that barking, so he goes outside and tells the dog to shut up before he freaking kills him. But before he can commit that, the dog with his red eyes, obviously indicating based on that shadow right there that it's a Violator, tells him, "Hello, David." It is David, isn't it? And what David are we talking about? David Richard Berkowitz, a Jewish boy from the Bronx, a tad high strung, but he's also known as Son of Sam with the AK-44 caliber killer. His rage and madness were like perfume or fine wine to the Violator. Now, Violator talks about that even though this guy was infamous for killing and claiming that the dog was possessed by a demon, kind of clever to tie the Violator in with that. But Violator claims, would he have done all that if I didn't? I mean, not me, but the dog didn't nudge him a little bit? Probably, yeah, but it wouldn't be so much panache and flair that he did it with. So David was not the first and far from the last monster that humans made. But then again, did humans make that? For the sake of the story, maybe Violator had a little influence, but we go into how we allowed that. And what do I mean by that? And the Violator goes into that long ago, God's children have walked the earth with God, but there's been monsters among them. He talks about in the book of Genesis, the Adam and Eve creation, that one of the seraphim snatched Adam's rib and created Eve. Everything changed. The humans were more inquisitive, more questioning of everything than either him or Lucifer were ever did. And he credits Lucifer for being the serpent and disguising himself as a snake, as a serpent, to deceive Eve into eating the fruit. And when Adam and Eve ate the fruit and broke the commandment of God to eat everything in the garden but the tree of knowledge and evil, Violator's kind of pissed, like, no, did God smite them? Did he go back to the drawing board and maybe recreate another creation? Hey, there was Noah's Ark. But no, he condemned them to eternal suffering. Nah, he didn't do that either. He just blamed them for the effing around and created the concept of guilt. The humans took guilt faster than the flies to the carrion, meaning trash. You notice how the Violator's contorting the words in here. God didn't create guilt. We got exposed to that by eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge and evil. But anyways, he talks about that God kicked them out and gave them shorter lifespans, because in the book of Genesis, it talks about that Adam and Eve lived for over 900 years, and as humans populate, he shortened our lifespans to about 120 years, if I remember correctly. That's definitely in the book of Genesis. But knowing that we're all going to die someday, he's talking about the humans again, mixed with the anger for the creator, abandoning them, well, it brought out the baser, more primal instincts in the humans. And he talks about like emperors and the body counts and the quest for war and all the deaths that happen throughout time, as well as humans even use diseases as weapons of war, and smallpox in a blanket. Violator's like, yo, man, I gotta give credit where credit is due, because that's even pretty perverse, even by his standards. And as humanity evolved, technologically speaking, so did their bloodlust and capacity for perversion. madmen with lust for power that made the morning stars seem more arose. Like, just whatever. He didn't. What our atrocities were meat compared to Lucifer's in the Violator's eyes. We made mustard gas, death camps, genocide, and then our most bloody creation, the glorious creation of the atomic bomb. Now, Violator thought that we would have a course correction after all that war stopped bombing, and for a brief moment, we did, because you're not going to see countries go to war like that because they both can nuclear bomb each other, you know what I mean? So the post-war refractory in the Violator's eyes, the period that almost made the perfect nuclear, he did intend for that to pun, perfectly intended that to pun, family myth seemed real, but like most things humanity touches, it was an illusion. No, a delusion trying to give meaning to the lives that were nothing but marking the time until death took us away. And behind that great facade, the American dream was just too much window dressing, barely concealing a malignant rot that was consuming them from within, and it was absolutely delightful in the eyes of the Violator. He also acknowledges that there was moments in humanity that surprised him, like inspirational surprises like conquering terrible diseases, mechanical brains, traveling in outer space. But behind the Renaissance hid a marrow deep rot that ran like blood through their fragile veins. And it was all the creator's fault, said the Violator. The inspiration that became more economical in his eyes. But within the whole of humanity, each and every one of them, he saw how it all came to it. And all that evil, all that rage is still going back to that when Adam and Eve ate the fruit and how sin was introduced and how we just have that rage and sin omnipresent within our lives. It even permeated in the entertainment industry that we so greedily consume. The humans actually thrived at this. They loved fear and love watching others suffer at the hands of evil. They're literally made in an art form and are more addicted to it than there are pleasures of the flesh. So demonic possession, the Exorcist movie right there, cannibalistic butchers, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, flesh-eating undead, probably zombie movies, even the so-called Antichrist, the Omen, just when you thought things could not get any worse. Well, even though after he leaves the I Spit on Your Grave movie, which I'm not gonna lie, I did watch that, and that is a brutal movie to watch, that how a girl gets even after being traumatized like that. He talks about the homeless people, and this homeless person is asking for spare change, and Violator tells him to F off. So after killing one another, begging is humans' favorite pastime, perpetual victims always wanting more and thinking they are owed everything they want. Yeah, he reflects that too. We are truly made in the Creator's image. How you gonna relate begging to God like that? But that's just a Violator for you, you know? But that beggar is not just some regular beggar. It is Gloriana, his first love, from Violator issue number 1, and she recognizes him. Bazio, this is unexpected. I will not, and I cannot let this chance pass again. Bazio has not recognized me, and now we're in the voice of Gloriana. I must use that advantage while I still have it. Why are my hands shaking? Now we go back to the Violator's monologue. Thinking that he didn't recognize her, he did. We danced around this battle, and Violator knows who's around him. He's very well of his surroundings, he knows that. But since the dawn of time, and this time is running out for one of us, meaning her, in his eyes. You know Violator wants to unleash that smoke on Gloriana, so Gloriana flies up in the air, and she's like, Bazio? Urgh, just saying his name is painful. Time heals all wounds. That's the human's fond way of saying it? Man, that is not true. It was 1,000 lifetimes ago in human terms, but for one of Creator's righteous words, it has been but for a moment. I must focus and gird myself to what is to come now. Where did you go, Bazio? And she flies onto the rooftop looking for him. And she spots him, wondering, what is he doing? And Violator's like, oh, she wants a show? I'm gonna give her a show, as this bus is coming up to me like that, and I gotta show that bus who's flexing. So Violator's like, okay, look, listen to me. Gloriana fancies herself as some covert agent of the creator, since she is as much of a pawn of the creator as I was to Lucifer. But in his eyes, he's awakened from that, and he got better and nastier and more violent, picking up that truck and throwing it, causing a creation of explosion right there, just a power flex, like, you know, I'm watching you, girl. And Gloriana knows, he knows I could not resist, and he's preening like that, like I'm just some kind of whatever, you know. He wants to smoke, but it changes my plan, but it does not change the outcome. I have to go in for that smoke. No pun intended, right? And Violator's like, I'll deal with Gloriana later, but at the moment, I was telling you a story before being interrupted. Among a myriad of things, I hate being interrupted. It's damn near the top of the list that annoys me. So he wants to finish his tale and finish his storytelling before he goes into murdering Gloriana. And what does Violator want to tell us that is so important? He wants to tell us about the relatively new phenomenon, the serial killer. And one thing he goes into is Ted Bundy. The bloodlust paralyzed an entire country with fear, and that fear fed him and those like him. It woke something up within humanity that they all have been festering. So now he's going into the history of serial killing, you know? And he talks about Caligula, and there's dozens of lunatics out there just like him, but it goes back. It also goes back to Jack the Reaper. Yes, the Violator claims he knows who he was, but he's not going to tell us. Not yet. You know what? Nobody knows who Jack the Reaper is, but Violator, if you know who he is, don't be stingy. We want to know too. He even talks about the fairer sex could be an abomination, and he talks about Lady Bathory. And I think her real name is known as Elizabeth Bathory. So he's going deep with all these killers and how they all portrayed throughout the time of history in the USA and how it just grew into something special. But there was one of them that stood out to him, a monster amongst monsters, John Wayne Gacy. His name still freaks humans out. He is also known as Pogo the Clown, infiltrating children's birthday parties. And I don't know if my fear clowns came from that, but definitely my fear clowns came from It, Pennywise, the John Curry version, the 1992 It movie. Forget that, you know. So he goes into that, and he also says that, Pogo the Clown actually made some demons like kind of babies compared to that. So that's where he says that's where he stole the foundation of his look, was from Pogo the Clown. But don't roll your eyes at him. It's just an inspiration to build a foundation, not copycatting. That's what he says. He's not stealing. So he tells us to be quiet because Gloriana is here and he wants a battle. And Gloriana goes up into the vicinity and is like, I can smell him. Bazio's scent once gave me comfort. Now it makes me recoil in disgust. Bazio, I know you can see me. Aren't you tired of this ridiculous dance we've been doing around here? Because I am. And Violator's like, come closer. And Gloriana's like, I'm willing to die for the side I choose. Are you? The only side I choose is me, says Violator. And he blasts her back, and he just has his Violator sense of humor, like, tag, you're it. So Violator goes back, and she's like, ooh, let me just shake this dust off. So Violator tells Gloriana, you think that hurt? Get ready, because we're going to redefine pain. And that puts fear and tremor in Gloriana's eyes. So Violator has to play with this food before he goes in for the kill. You know, like, did you really think you could sneak up on me, Gloriana? Do you know what your weakness is? A devotion to playing by the rules, his rules. It restricts you, makes you small, makes you predictable, makes you defeatable. And Gloriana whispers in his ears, you are nowhere near as clever as you think you are, Violator. And Violator was not expecting, like, yo, girl, you always call me Bazio, which is a name I hate. But now you call me Violator, just throws him off for a quick second as she lays a haymaker on him. So Violator was like, oh good, I was hoping you wouldn't pull your punches. Based on some shared, long dead past, you are an instrument of violence, just like me. But unlike you, I love it. And he charges at her full speed and decks her in the face and tells her, oh baby girl, you taste good. I wonder what flavor your insides are. Well, let's find out. And wails on her. And it's brutal, and his face is getting darker and more red as he's wailing on her. But you know what, to him it's just pure joy. And she tells him, you repulse me. Really, says the Violator? And to think for the briefest of moments I was gonna offer to let you live and let you go. Luckily that moment has passed. Ready to continue our game of Angel Pinata, says Violator? No more games, says Gloriana. She picks up Violator, takes him into the air, but definitely puts her thumbs in his eyes to take his eye sockets out. Not eye sockets, I mean eyeballs. And Violator's like, baby girl, game over. But we're gonna sit on this image for a little bit because I want to tell you that this video is sponsored by coffee and tea. So if you'd like to buy your boy a cup of coffee and or tea to soothe my voice and get back to 100% recovery, feel free to donate to the super thanks or the link below. But the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking this video and subscribing to Rated Comics YouTube channel. And once again, I want to give a shout out to our channel member Brent Fong. Thank you for your support and becoming a member. So want to give you a shout out. All right, appreciate you, buddy. And if you guys want to become members and show love to the channel, by all means, we're not going to hold you back from that. But with all that being said, let's get right back into the content. So after impaling Gloriana like that, plummeting back to Earth is not going to be a pleasant fall at all. But if there's one being who has experienced falling from heaven, it's Violator, which it's a callback to issue number 1, which we did cover. So after he survives, he walks, and there's this homeless guy asking Violator, hey mister, can you spare any change for a down on his luck vet? So the Violator's like, wait a minute, the army you gave everything to now ignores your existence? Yeah, how'd you know? And Violator's like, how's your eyesight? That's what I want to know, because homegirl took away my eyes. Oh, perfect, says the guy. I was a sniper. I asked and he answered. And Violator straight up tells him, look, I'm going to need your eyes, bro. It's not going to hurt much. And now that that foolishness is over, he goes back to his storytelling. And we also get a little callback to Spawn. Maybe the story picks up and ends, or maybe the story ends right where Spawn begins. So Violator's like, oops, duty calls. Looks like I'm leaving you with some gaps and some questions. Sorry, not sorry. I know you'll be back because I'm freaking irresistible. Yeah, we do want to know more. By the way, everything he claims to share is 100% USDA approved. No sugar added truth. Well, give or take a lie or two. And of course, that's a Violator for you right there. But meanwhile, in the Bellevue hospital, they found a patient who was in comatose for 6 months. And these doctors are like, well, there's still no information as to who the woman is. And there's no information on that. So the nurse tells the lady, someone out there loves you. We just need to find them. Hopefully get some kind of life back. Gloriana faintly says the name Bazio, not Violator, indicating that the story of Gloriana is not done yet if the Violator is telling the truth. And that is the conclusion of the Violator issue number 6 and the conclusion of the Violator series. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. I dug the story, I dug the whole series, but here's what I'm tripping out about. We got Dakota in the Gunslinger Spawn series. That's allegedly the Violator's daughter. How come we get no reference to that? How did the Violator and Malboja ever come to play? But if the Violator's telling his own story, he probably wants to leave that own part out because he views himself as higher than the Almighty, than Malboja. So for him to talk about how him and Malboja came about would probably lower himself in his own eyes. So maybe he had to omit that. Omitting a part of the story is also telling a lie. So Violator, you omitted some stuff, all right? But overall, I thought the story was dope. You know, that's just my opinion. I thought it was fun. But what you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. Also, link in description if you wish to buy this comic book and or any of our other limited print Rated Comics exclusives to add to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. With all that being said, thank you again for watching. Until the next upload.